It is 6 minutes past the hour. As Avalia mentioned, the graft war has been costly financially, and even friends have been lost. The president says he has lost many friends, if not most. His Ruto also insists the war on graft will be won at whatever cost. Let's listen in to what both the deputy president and the president had to say over this.
Over the last few weeks, I've lost very many friends, Bishop. Because but you know, how can you just sit there and watch all this destruction going on? You must stop it. And I said, well, it's difficult to stop. It's difficult to stop, not because we love to destroy, but because we must fight impunity.
In whatever you do, mahali utajenga, mahali utafanya biashara, mahali utafanya kazi, ujue ya kwamba kuna sheria, na sheria ni msumeno. Inakata ikienda mbele, inakata iki. Kwa hivyo, sisi wote lazima tuhakikishe ya kwamba everything that we do, hata vita yetu dhidi ya ufisadi na ukora na wizi, itaendelea chini ya sheria, ikiambatana na sheria ya Kenya. Hakuna mtu atadhulumiwa bure, hakuna mtu atafanyiwa kinyume. So everybody, we must all be a nation not of men, but a nation of law.
Of course, that is both the deputy president and the president speaking there. In studio, once again, I have Steve Vogutu, Asman Omondi, and Owino Kotieno. Steve, once again, let me begin with you, and I have a reason as to why I'm asking this. From those soundbites you've heard from the president and his deputy, will you say the government is sincere in the war on graft?
Wow, I mean, if you look at what we've been seeing in the recent past, people being arraigned in court, and even people who we've never even imagined, could even be arrested and even spend some time in cells. The other day we saw Governor Kidero spent the night in the cells. We saw, yesterday Zuri being arrested, and the other day was Jamong being arrested. I think this type of goodwill, I think this country has never experienced this level of goodwill from a head of state, And so remarks by the deputy president and remarks by the president in the clip you've just played, I think for me shows that there is genuine efforts, that are being directed toward addressing this menace, by all means possible. And what I needed to say is, again, there is that aspect of this handshake, that has brought in this new dimension, that now it is not just talking about promising to fight graft, but actually graft is actually being fought. And so this, like I said, is not just a fight that the president and his deputy or the executive should be involved. It's actually something that should involve all of us as a country. Citizens, other stakeholders, like the ESCC, DCI office, ODPP, and other stakeholders must be involved so we can have an amicable solution to this menace that has costed this country a lot. We have a lot of young people who are jobless today, because money was lost in NYS1, and NYS2. We have a lot of patients, who are sick, who can't afford medicine, because there's a lot of money that was lost under the Ministry of Health. And so to have this kind of goodwill from a person of a president, it's something that we must take advantage of as a country, and just make certain that this menace is addressed once and for all.
I believe you've heard Steve's point of view there, and he has cited the fact that we're seeing some sort of senior government officials being arraigned in court, and he's saying that shows some indication that the government is serious on the war on graft. From your own point of view, do you think that is enough, or more needs to be done still?
Well, if we have to sincerely fight this war, we must actually approach it from the prism that there would be no sacred cows. There must be equality, there must be non-discrimination, and there must be rule of law in this fight against corruption. When we premise the fight against corruption on those three premises, then we also ensure that the office of the director, the office of the DCI, Director of Criminal Investigation, is seriously strengthened, is adequately funded, and the office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, it has personnel that can actually ensure that we have watertight case. We want to see this fight against corruption giving birth to successful, and those successful prosecution must lead to successful conviction. We do not want to see musical chairs and charade, people being arraigned in court, and after probably 2 or 3 months, the judge will say that there were no sufficient evidence to pin down these people. We are talking about government fighting graft. Government is a corporate body that is actually made up of the judiciary, 3 arms of government, the judiciary, the legislature, and the executive. It is unfortunate that now we are saying that we are sustaining this war against corruption, yet it's just the other day that Parliament actually misused their powers, and they did cut a big chunk of judiciary's budget. I want to say that we are not hurting Maraga. We are not hurting the judges who are serving in those courts, but we are simply hurting litigants. We are simply hurting Kenyans who want to see justice being done, and justice done expeditiously. What the president must do, he must now use his executive orders, in as much as it is Parliament that has been given that role to craft budget, but that Parliament is overrepresented by people from Jubilee. And if we take, if we now use the issue of handshake, now let us take the goodwill that has been provided by this handshake, so that we can have a round table, so that the judiciary stop complaining that they are being underfunded, and the executive provides that good environment of addressing this, of addressing the war against corruption. And Parliament, I'm repeating, Kenyans must fight so that they can get an independent, impartial, and objective Parliament. Without objective impartiality and a strong Parliament, I don't see this war going far, because at the end of the day, they will use their legislative muscle actually to throw the spanner in the works of the president.
And of course, to change that, Kenyans still have 4 more years to do that, up to 2022. Now, Asman, from a youth point of view, understand you're a youth leader once again. You've seen the tough talks from the president and his deputy. As much as you're going to tell us whether you think they're sincere in their respective comments there, do you think there's enough action that accompanies, these strong words that we've had?
It is very clear that it is a step in the right direction taken by the president, and it should receive a lot of support from all the organizations, beginning from the citizens, going upwards. So, in my own view, it is a step in the right direction, and the bodies responsible for taking action, especially the Directorate of Criminal Investigation, they should start doing very thorough investigations into these cases, especially now that we've seen cases coming up and going down the drain without thorough investigation going on, reports being tabled in Parliament, and no action is being taken on them. It is unfortunate also that as citizens we've taken a backseat, and we are waiting for these bodies to act for us. We can also take matters into our own hands, but of course in the confines of the law. What I can advise the youth is that you should not sit back and relax, because a lot is at stake right now as we speak. The education sector is going down the drain. We've seen the health sector from the Afia House scandal going down the drain. And if we sit back and continue thinking that everything is going on well, we are the ones who are going to suffer. And as it has been continuously said, that the youth are the leaders and of not tomorrow, but today. Because right now, we've seen youthful people taking up positions of leadership, as seen by the likes of John Paul. Right now, we have very youthful people taking up big positions in the government. The president has also given appointments, key government appointments, to people who are very young. So this, the youth at the moment in the country should not sit back and think that everything is going on well and we are going to be handed anything on a silver platter. We should rise up and start working on these things. And if at all there is anyone out there, youth, and wants to take up this position, it is not a must that we wait for 2022. Start building that trajectory right now, so that by the time you get to 2022, people see the vision that you have for this country, and that you have the passion to move this country forward, and you have a heart for the youth, and you're going to make sure that whatever mistakes that are being made right now by the people in power, we are not going to repeat them, because we are not just doing this for our own sake. We are doing it for the people, for the citizens of Kenya who are going to come even after us. So it is not just a matter of the president giving directives. It is up to us also to stand up and act on the directives that have been given by the president. And the president, I think, in my opinion, he has good faith for this cause. It is a justifiable cause, and we as the citizens of this country, we should give him all the support that we need.
Yes, Asman, I think that will be your last or final word in the program tonight. Let me now give Steve and we know 1 minute each for you. Steve, critics might say that nothing tangible ever came out of, the Golden Bag scandal, for example, in terms of, conviction, leasing, and any. Actually, we've not seen major convictions in this country. So there are also critics who are saying that the president is not doing anything different from what his predecessors did as far as the war on graft is concerned. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I think based on our experience in the past as a country, where we've had cases like you've mentioned, the Golden Bag just went like that without any, penalties meted against the people who were involved in this whole scandal. I mean, we may doubt that maybe, because of the past experience, we may doubt that, nothing tangible can ever come from, addressing matters corruption. But what gives me hope, and I believe this is what also majority of Kenyans having hope in, is actually what we are seeing at the moment, the goodwill that the president has, and actually we are seeing people being arrested, people who we never imagined, like I said.
So we should remain hopeful.
But what I should say is, what I want to say is that we don't just need to see these people being taken to the cells and then they bail themselves out because they have money. We need to see the investigations done to the end and these people prosecuted. If they've done serious economic crimes, then they should just go to the jail like any other common.
I think that's the hope of every Kenyan.
That's right.
Unfortunately, we're out of time. Steve, many thanks for your input. Steve Ogutu there, who's a governance expert. Asman Omanyi, who is a youth leader, as well as Wino Kotieno, a former member of the county assembly, is also a governance expert. Many thanks, gentlemen, for your input. And that brings us to the end of the program tonight. Many thanks for watching. My name is Joseph Ibrahim. Up next is KTN Prime. Stay with us.